Brad, I think we have a graphic here to talk about game 2 as we're breaking down. And I think this is kind of what the crazy part, Brad, if you want to run us through it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the wild part was that the Orioles obviously lost 11-8, and the O's ended up having more hits than the Rangers did, 14-11, extra base hits. I think I had, is this still right? Did I mix it? The 7 extra base hits.
No, that is okay. That's correct.
So I want to make sure I had that right. And then runners in scoring position, 3 for 13, 5 to 17. And really the walks, I think, is the glaring stat here. The Orioles gave up 11 walks to the Rangers 2. And that is with the abysmal bullpen that the Rangers have. Pitches thrown, 206 to 163. And strikes that were thrown as well. Of those pitches, we have 115 strikes from the O's and 109 for the Rangers. So, if you look at just these stats, it was kind of like, well, it's not so bad, except the walks. The walks was the really terrible part about the whole thing.
And it's evident. And we're going to break this down a little bit more. But the reason why I wanted to throw in the pitches thrown, by the way, is because that tells a story. And for when you have to throw more pitches, and even though everything we saw, the Orioles, they had more extra base hits. They did more damage on the base paths. But when you give Texas an opportunity by giving them free passes on base, things can happen. And again, when pitch counts go up, that gives hitters more confidence in the batter's box. They feel like they're constantly seeing what's going on. And Zach, as we alluded to with these walks, there's some stats behind this. And I know you've been brewing some up for us.
So I kind of went down a rabbit hole on this 10 plus walks in a game. So 24 times in the postseason, an MLB team has walked 10 plus times, and they are 18-6 in those games. Meaning if you walk a team 10 plus times, you're probably not going to win that game. And then, of course, you had just the incredible batting eye of Corey Seager taken to a place as he became the first player in postseason history with a 5-walk game. And it was kind of crazy. I was going through, and I think it's 17 guys have had 10 or 4+ walks in a game. And the names on this list, Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, Frank Thomas, you have David Ortiz, actually David Ortiz twice, because of course he is, Freddie Freeman, Bobby Abreu, Chase Utley. I mean, it is some really good company to be in. And what's actually incredible, and this was the interesting thing I found out about this, that there are only actually twice. It was, I believe, Corey Seager became the second player to have 4+ walks and be a part of a 10+ walk game in the postseason, which I thought was weird, because if you walk a player 4+ times, clearly you don't have it that day. So of the 24 times, only 2 of those guys with 4+ walks being involved in those 10+ walk games was kind of interesting to me. I thought it would be closer. You'd see almost 50%.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. It was wild to see. It was wild to experience, because the Orioles pitching staff overall, something that they hadn't done all year long, is really that, to be honest. And for Grayson Rodriguez specifically, you felt like once he got through that first inning, things were going to maybe start to settle down. But unfortunately for Grayson, which we're going to dive into in a second here, Grayson had trouble then, his fastball command, and we have the videos to show it. But then after that, you have Brian Baker come in, who did not have his control, 3 walks. Then it just takes one swing of the bat, and whammy, the damage is done. And that's exactly what happened. And you look up, you blink, you snap your fingers, and you go, holy shirts and pants. How did the Rangers get 9 runs in 2 innings? I believe in the first 3 innings alone, there was 7 walks given out to Rangers hitters. Yeah. So, I mean, Brad, you got to see it. Besides watching me in the background on the TV, what did you see on your end?
Yeah, for me, I mean, from the jump, it felt as if Grayson, you could just see it on his face that he just, I don't know if he just wasn't ready or if he was overwhelmed or what have you, but just like seeing it on his face, you didn't even have to necessarily, count all the walks to see that he just didn't have it. There just wasn't something. There was something there that he just wasn't clicking for him, and it was written all over his face. So you hate to see him throw 1.2 innings, inning and 2/3. So it is just it's tough to see, but man, after I would say even just that first batter in the second inning, you can kind of just tell that there's something just wasn't right with Grayson. It was troubling, of course, but you got to wonder if perhaps the stage, I hate to say it, as cliche as it is, the stage ended up being too big for him.
That is a cliche right there. We can't for whatever it was, and for people that were running this out, Grayson deserved to start game 2, by the way.
For sure.
For everyone that's going to sit out there and go, well, wait a minute, like what the hell happened? The dude didn't have his A stuff and he couldn't control it. And it was hard for him to battle through, and Texas made him pay. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Well, and the thing of it is, we talked with Gavin last week about this, about how treating it, it's just every other game. And then we kind of laughingly said, well, that's bullshit. It's not just like every other game. And it kind of was evident with Grayson yesterday. It's okay to get nervous. Sometimes that's just how it happens. And it unfortunately happened at the wrong time for Grayson yesterday.
Yeah, if you're going to be upset with a rookie pitcher not having his best performance in his first playoff game against one of the best offenses in the league, and I don't know if baseball's the sport for you, because that's just what happens. That's just what happens. And I think my biggest takeaway is we're getting into the third inning. That grand slam, how many times this year have the Orioles been in a situation where they're down a run or two, other team has bases loaded, and then they get a massive double play to end it? And I started to think that it was going to be same old movie, Orioles get right to the edge and, get your heart rate up and then find a way to escape. But it was just that one pitch, the grand slam was really what kind of put it out of the stadium. You could see it on guys' faces, that one brilliant picture of Austin Hayes looking over the wall as it goes by. And you could tell, had we gotten out of that inning and it's just 6 or 7-2, it's a different ball game from that point on. But 9 was just demoralizing, you could tell.
Well, and credit to the Rangers offense as well. I mean, we talked about this leading up to the series, is that the Rangers offense was just unbelievable throughout the season. So it wasn't a surprise to see them, see the bats go off. I think it was just a little surprising to see how many walks were given up.